Celtic have seen their lead at the top of the Cinch Premiership evaporate, but that is not the only thing they've lost. As Chris Sutton says, Celtic no longer hold the fear factor over the other clubs in the league. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Chris Sutton says that Celtic no longer have the fear factor, but I think the fear of title 56 is real. Celtic no longer top of the league, no longer top of the table in a country where second is last. So there's no doubt that Celtic are down the shitter. They are in trouble. They're now chasing a Rangers team that do not look like they're dropping points, and I think their title hopes this season are in danger. And so does Chris Sutton, and he thinks there's one man to blame for this, and according to Sutton, that man is Brendan Rodgers. Sutton believes that Rodgers has to carry the can for bad results, and he wasn't having defence that Celtic were top of the league until today, because that seems to be Brendan Rodgers' go-to point. Rodgers has referenced in the last, 48 hours, that up until today, Celtic were top of the table. But how much can you really take from that? Yes, Celtic were top of the table because Rangers got off to a really, really bad start under Michael Beale. But Celtic have been poor for a while. It's not like Celtic started the season fantastically and they've just all of a sudden been bad the last few games and that's why they're no longer top. Celtic have been probably poor, I would say, since maybe like November, December. You can see signs that these results were coming, these draws, these defeats were coming. Even the performances where they've won, they haven't been that great. I mean, gone are the days where you expect Celtic to win every game 4, 5, 6-0 under Ange Postecoglou. That's the kind of scorelines you were expecting. That's the kind of scorelines you were getting. Under Brendan Rodgers, that's not the case. And I couldn't even tell you the last time Celtic played really well in the league and got a convincing win. It's been too long. I mean, you look at even their past few victories that they had against Hibernian and Ross County. They've not been convincing wins at all. In fact, they've just been getting over the line. So Sutton was giving his thoughts on the matter when he was on BBC Radio 5. A lot of fans were pissed off and Sutton was sympathising with the fans. This is what he says, quote, "There's a lot of unhappiness among the fan base about Celtic not spending a huge amount of money, but my point is Brendan Rodgers should be doing better domestically than he is at this moment in time with the players he has available," end of quote. Now, Robbie Savage came in and he tried to back Rodgers because I think Savage, he likes the fact that Rodgers is a Premier League manager, a guy that's managed in England, so he's going to come in, he's going to back him. But Robbie Savage doesn't really know shit about Scottish football. He doesn't know shit about Scotland. If he did, he wouldn't be backing Brendan Rodgers because at the moment Brendan Rodgers is not really in a backable position. Like I said, guy's been garbage now for 2, 3, 4 months, so you can't back him. He tried to back him. Chris Sutton shut him down, saying, quote, "They've been papering over the cracks with their performances. You don't quite understand Scottish football. Second is last. You can't be behind in Glasgow. There are Celtic fans out there now who think they possibly can't win the league. I don't necessarily agree with that, because there's a long way to go," end of quote. So Sutton doesn't think that the league is over, but I mean, it's definitely fair to say Celtic are no longer the favourites and Rangers are looking good for the title. I mean, can Celtic win the title? Can they win the league? Of course. I mean, if they start playing well, if Rangers slip up, then anything can happen. There's 2 Old Firm games left, but at the moment, if you had a grand and you were forced to stick it on one of them, you wouldn't be sticking fuck all on Celtic. I mean, they stick 10 pence on them, for God's sake. That's how shite they are. And Sutton finished off by saying, quote, "This season Celtic have dropped so many points domestically. What would worry me about yesterday is that Kilmarnock had more shots than Celtic in their own backyard. There's not a fear factor anymore when teams domestically play Celtic. They don't fear them. They fancy their chances. People can phone in and tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember the last time that happened. You look at periods this season, away to Aberdeen, away to Hibs, Kilmarnock second half, teams are playing Celtic off the park. That is the worry, and that domestically falls on the manager. End of quote. I agree with Sutton, and even just listening to Sutton saying that, that is a worry. Now, have teams in the past had a go at Old Firm teams? Absolutely, but it's not often you get teams outside of the top two playing Celtic or Rangers off the pitch, but that has been happening lately. You look at the Aberdeen game second half, Aberdeen were much better, they should have won. That Hibernian game, second half, Hibernian destroyed Celtic. They should have won that. It was criminal that they didn't. And then yesterday, Kilmarnock ended up creating more chances, having more shots than Celtic, and putting a really good display in the second half to come back and get a point. Now, did Kilmarnock need to do that much? Probably not, because Celtic were garbage, but they were there for the taking. And in the end, you look at it, and Celtic were probably fortunate to come away with a point. So it's not like these teams are doing a smash and grab. It's not like Celtic are creating a shitload of chances, unable to take them, and then they're getting sucker punched right at the end. These games where Celtic are dropping points, they are deserving to drop points, and you can maybe even argue that these draws they've been getting, they've been lucky to get draws, because they have been, the worst side in these games. So Rodgers blames, or Sutton blames Rodgers for this. He thinks the fear factor is gone. I agree. You play Celtic now and you're expecting teams to get a result. Under Ange Postecoglou, honestly, you probably thought by about half-time it'd be 3-0 and game over. Now, when teams play Celtic, they're expecting to get something. If you get to half-time and it's still 0-0, you're expecting to maybe nick it in the second half. So the dynamic at Celtic has changed massively. Teams are going to Celtic, even Celtic Park. It's not even just at home. It's not like Kilmarnock at Rugby Park, you're thinking they can get something here. Even when Kilmarnock went to Celtic Park, you were thinking they've got a chance. Even when Celtic play Motherwell next week, you're thinking they've got a chance. Pretty much outside of the really bad teams in the league, the likes of the Livingston and the Ross Counties, you're giving the majority of the teams a chance here against Celtic, whether it be home and away. And I think that just shows you how bad they've been at the moment, and how much Sutton is right. They have lost their fear factor, because like I said, previously there was not many fixtures in the league where you would think Celtic had a chance of dropping points. Pretty much at home, you would think the only team that would maybe have a chance of doing anything would be Rangers. And then there's a few fixtures that you'd look at away from home where Celtic might drop points, maybe a trip to Tynecastle, or maybe a trip to Rugby Park, or maybe Love Street, something like that. But now you're looking at it and there's just so many teams. You're expecting the likes of Motherwell to maybe get something. You're expecting the likes of like Aberdeen, who previously haven't been able to take anything away from Celtic. You expect them to do something now. Dundee, you expect these teams to give Celtic a game. So yeah, definitely worrying. I agree with Chris Sutton. Fear factor's gone. But the fear remains that Rangers are going to win the league this season for Celtic, and it looks that way, guys. So let me know what you think down below. Celtic, can they pull it back? Can they still win the league? Will they win the league? I think it's unlikely at this point, but the January transfer window, that was their chance to do something, their chance to try and get the fans back on side, try and get some faith back. The board, the manager, they had a chance to at least go down fighting, and they didn't do it, and now they might just be going down, and who knows, come the end of the season, could we see Celtic finish closer to Hearts than they do Rangers? Right now, I think that's a real possibility. Still quite a few games to go. Rangers do not look like dropping points. Celtic look like dropping points every game. And Hearts now have won, I believe, 7 in a row. So, yeah, anything could happen, I guess, come the end of the season. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Been Fog Football. Thanks for watching, and peace.